We are live on YouTube. Whew. Right now, I don't even know if I'm on the face of planet Earth. So for those of you who don't know, I've got two gigs. My second one is today. My second one is another one of them at private parties, and it's in Driffield. Now, last night I was obviously at a gig, which we're going to talk about because this is the aftermath. That was out of town. That was out of Hull. So obviously it was a late night. It was a drive back, and then today I'm at this party in Driffield, and the only time I could get picked up was sort of late morning to early dinner time, and I had to get all my gear packed down. Which luckily I did quite a lot of it yesterday. I disconnected all the wires and put them in my bag, and then it was just a case of putting the CDJs and the mixer into the boxes, and getting them ready this morning. So I'm feeling a little bit tired. I feel like I've sort of like not had like a nice full sleep. I feel like I've slept a little bit, probably about 5 hours, which to be fair, it's not too bad. So I can't really grumble, but yeah, I just feel a slight bit tired, like, whew, just not all together there. So if I do sound a bit like that, then I do obviously apologise. So this is the Wizards of the Core aftermath, and this is another one of them events that has blown me away. So sometimes I'll get like a booking or I'll get like a gig, and I'll have like, because I don't know what, obviously, because I before the event, obviously I don't know what it's going to be like, don't know what it's going to look like. So when you sometimes create like a picture in your head of what you think it's going to be like, or just from what you've heard off the promoter or what you've seen promotion wise, and sometimes you get your own little sort of like thoughts in your head. Well, this was one of them where I sort of had in my head like what I sort of thought it was going to be like. I thought, yeah, and a lot of it really too sure, because the flyer looks amazing to start with, so you do think it's like quite a biggish rave, and you do picture it to be in quite a biggish venue, and the venue's actually not all that big, but it was a really nice looking venue, and the sound system in there was just absolutely booming. There was a booting system in there, trust me, um, which is obviously like a good thing. Like it proper boots out really nice, crystal clear. But yeah, the night so just blows me away as to how good it was. Just how there was so many nice people there as well. And the whole night was just like really enjoyable. So we arrived. Well, I got picked up from my house about, I think it was about 4:30, 4:45, from Lee, and then we just called back to Lee's because he'd been at some like graduation thing all day, so he was suited and booted. So we just had to quickly get changed. And to be fair, because it's like tea time traffic, it saved him like going home and then coming back for me and coming through all the traffic from his end to my end to then go back through the traffic to get out of Hull. So it just made sense that when he came from the graduation thing, he would be passing my end more or less anyway. So it obviously just made sense that he pulls in and he picks me up, and then we go to his house, and then from his house we just go straight out of Hull. So we went there to get changed. I was obviously already changed and ready, and then we just chilled for a little bit, and then we just literally set off. And I think we got there about probably about 7:10. Now the event starts at 7, so we got there about 10 past. We got parked up. I was absolutely dying for the toilet. I was bursting. So we get to the venue, and there's already people here, and there's quite a few here to say that it's like quite early. It's only just gone 7, and it actually, wasn't too bad. It was booming off, and there was K-Tex, which was JJ, who's running the event. He was playing the first set, and he was absolutely smashing in some hard style, which I thought, oh, quite heavy for this time, but to be going quite well. And it was just buzz from there on, really. So we get there, and I obviously get onto the toilet, and then I'm obviously there's a few people have come to this that we know. So MC Shorty brought a good friend of ours, Liam Dawkins, and we don't see him that often because he lives away from Hull, and he's like further down south than us. So we only see him like now and again at like raves if we end up happening to be going to the same rave, which last night obviously the same thing occurred, and he came with Shorty, and obviously we got to see him, and then obviously we knew some of the other people on the lineup, and some of them again we hadn't seen them for a while, so it was nice just to catch up. It was like going and sort of like having a little bit like a family reunion with just some sound people that have really become like nice and sound people through like the music scene, and people who have become like brothers to you and like family to you. And it's just really nice to go back and see him, and especially when you've not seen him for so long, like it makes it like so much more like you're so pleased to see him because it's been that long. It was really good in that sense. After K-Tex did his set, which again was banging, there was Spentek B2B Eddie, and they dropped like a bounce stroke, a hard bounce set, that went into a little bit of like hardcore towards the end. And that set was absolutely it was the tune selection in that set was absolutely belting. It was really good. It was absolutely fantastic. And one thing that I really loved about last night is hearing songs that I've not heard for ages. Like forgotten tunes, and then you think, oh my god, I remember that song. And they Spentek and Eddie, they did that in their set. They pulled out some absolute belters, and they pulled out some hard dance and some like hard house and some like Andy Whitby Awesome Records tunes, which that era. I'm a big fan of that era. They dropped a tune, and I always forget what it's called. But the vocal in it says MC Undertaker, and it's a banging tune. I played that at the last stomping in my set, but that is an absolute belting tune. They played a really good remix of Shined on Me and Paul Van Dyke versus Rachel McFarlane for a Lover. They played two amazing versions, two amazing songs, remixes of them songs. That was like sort of like hard bouncy bounce, and it was a really strong set. Had a little B2B with Shorty, and then just grabbed the mic for a little bit on my own. But it got so warm in there that I had to put the mic down and go outside for air. And obviously, because I've got actual sets to do as well, I didn't want to tire myself out and do myself in for the sets that I've got to play. So after the Spentek and Eddie, it was Carver track that came on with a hardcore set, and he had a little bit of an issue because his laptop shut down on him at home, and he was like running out of time. So he was like, "Look, I'm gonna have to bring my laptop, and I'm gonna sort my tunes out on the train." So he gets on the train, gets sorting his tunes out, and then his laptop crashes and his USB stick corrupts. So he's having like a right sort of issue of it. He's on the train and he's trying to sort all these tunes out, and he's trying to sort this corrupted stick out. And then he gets to the venue with time to spare and manages to sort it in the venue. And then he just plays an absolutely belting UK hardcore set. And again, he threw some tunes in there, like Dougal and Gamma, Moles Are Ugly. I've not heard that in ages, and you know, when it's something that you just forget about, because there's so many amazing Dougal and Gamma tunes that you just can't remember them all. And sadly, there is better tunes than that tune, but that tune is still a banger. And then when you don't hear it for ages, and it comes on, and you're like, ooh, I remember that, because there was a 150 PM version as well, that was done for like as a hard dance, sort of hard house sort of version, that was on a CD mixed by Andy Whitby called Hard Dance Anthems. That's where I first heard the tune. Before I even knew there was a hardcore version. But yeah, some of them tunes were just sort of throwing me back, to, like, remembering, like, God, I remember that tune, and I remember discovering them, and I remember playing them, and just absolutely loving them. And then after the Carver track, it was myself DJing. So for those of you who did or did not know, Flick B sadly fell ill with COVID, and could not make the event. Um, so instead of, like, trying to find another DJ, there was a guy coming who was MCing who could already DJ anyway, and it just made sense that I just swapped my role from MCing the set to DJing the set. So I DJ'd Flick B's set, and instead of me and the... Someone's actually ringing me. Are we here? Oh, everything's crashed. Ah, yes, it's let me reconnect. Right, sorry. I got a phone call, and it, like, when it spazzes the phone out, and it just made it lag. And I thought we'd lost the stream, but we managed to get it back. Yeah. So it moved on to our set. What I was going to say before it lagged. This is probably by far one of the favourite sets out, that I've ever played. I don't know why, but I think everything just worked in the set. Um, so I jump on with this, it was like a UK hardcore, that sort of went sort of like old to new, but it was very sort of energetic. There was a lot of quick mixing, and there was a lot of different drops throughout the set. So not every drop would be the same, and there was just a good style to the set, and it was really good. There was, like I said, loads of quick mixing. Um, I started off with a tune, Andy Whitby and Club Filler Blam, and it was Club Filler's hardcore version of the tune. So I started that on the intro, so just on the breakdown, I've made like an intro version of that track, and I like to use it in hardcore sets because it's got a really nice sort of intro, a nice build into a hardcore set, and it was really good. So that builds up, and then as soon as it drops, I'm play on the next tune, and I'm getting it in time, and I'm bringing it in, and then I double drop the two tunes, so it's Blam, and then it's Mix Factory, Take Me Away, the Recon remix, and obviously the two basses are just absolutely going head to head with each other, and they're just sounding sick, and I'm like on the faders, it's like and proper going for it. And the whole set is just full of like drops like that. We've got side trance drops. We've got some like really heavy drops. We've got some really big euphoric melodies. We've got well-known vocals. The whole set is just banging, and people are up for it. People are loving it because the thing about it is people love a set there's tunes that you know. So when you play a set and they can recognise the songs and they can sing along, that is one thing that people love in a set. And that sometimes people just prefer like a bit more of a cheesier set. as opposed to like a hard set. Now, what I mean by that is, I mean, don't get me wrong, I played a belting hard set, and there was some absolute, heavy drops in there, but it was all hardcore, apart from like the side trance drops. And some people aren't always into the hard style and the sort of like, the raw style, and sometimes like when people can just sing along to all of their classics, but still get that sort of like heavyish drop, but it's not too heavy. People love it. So people was loving our set because there was remixes of the Prodigy. There was like Top Vibes tune Pac-Man. So if you watch this Top Vibe, dropped your tune in. There was a remix of Example, Change the Way You Kiss Me. In the set, we've got Paradise, See the Light. We've got my remix of Wifey, so everyone sings along to Wifey as you do. And then obviously there's just so many. Again, Prodigy, it was a 3 tracks double drop mashup. So there's Smack My Bitch Up, there's Out of Space, and there's No Good Start the Dance, and it's all in one. Do you know what I mean? It's all in one tune, and then there's Moonlight Shadow. There's loads of tunes that A B C D E F U, and people are just going for it, and people are just loving it. And we had really good feedback regarding the set, and it's always so nice. Like when you come off the decks, and you've got sort of like 5, 6, or 7 people that you sort of come up to you through the course of the night and say, "Do you know what? Like, we really enjoyed your set." It's really good because it obviously, it means that people enjoyed it. It means that people listen, and it also means like, an hour or a couple of hours later, prior to your set, it shows that people still think back and thought, that was a banging set that he did. And that is where it really becomes like a shed load of fun, and it makes you think like, oh, I'm so glad like I did it, and that, and I'm so glad I played here because it's obviously made the crowd, and the crowd are obviously so buzzed, and they've enjoyed it as well, which was really good. There was a guy called Adam, and he was at the front of the, right near the DJ booth for my set, and he was like, he was proper loving and enjoying every tune, and then I'd finish a mixing, and the new track would come in, and we'd go into the breakdown, and he'd be fist bumping me, and he'd be like, this set's absolutely buzzing. And then there was other people that was absolutely just belting off the set. And then there was people that were just blown away because when I started emceeing, it already blew them away. There was like, whoa, this guy's actually an all right MC, because they even said it. And then they don't expect to sort of like see me DJ like that as well. It's like, whoa, this guy, because I think some people just thought I was there to MC because I originally was, but they see me grab the mic and they don't think, oh, in about an hour's time he's gonna DJ. So then they do see me DJ, and it really blows them away. And Layman smashes it on the mic as always, and I really like having the Layman as a host because when it comes to my sets, I like a few bars, but I like a lot of hosting. I like the tracks to be able to breathe, and I just, I like genuinely somebody who's just a crowd hyper, and not someone who will just go in and just spit through the whole set, and just pull out their best and quickest bars. I do like people that are very crowd interactive, and like I say, the tunes get a chance to breathe, and they're not going in on every drop, and the Layman just does it right. He lets the tune breathe, he hypes the people up, he sings along to some of the tunes, and he just really, really, absolutely dominates the set with me, really, which I'm very pleased about. It's how I wanted the set to go, and the CDJs, I can't remember what make of the CDJs they were, but I know they're the ones with the touch screen. So you touch the screen to use the functions. So it's like a touch screen, and you can search for tracks, and the screen is, like I said, the screen is just like a touch screen itself. And the CDJs, I've got to say, were really, really nice to use. Like, really nice. They were like some of the best CDJs that I've actually been on. The touch screen was just really nice to use. The jog wheel was just so nice. It felt like it just, you moved the jog wheel and it just went into beat so nicely. And once it was in beat, it just like really sat there really well. Whereas my new marks do tend to often like wander out of beat, and the BPM count's not always exactly correct. I mean, I did spill a drink on mine, but even so, as Newmarks, that there is a few little sort of like things that let them down compared to Pioneer, obviously, but Pioneer cost obviously a lot more. Um, but these CDJs were just so nice to use, and I just thought, you know what, I absolutely love them. But the mixer, I can't remember the make of the mixer. It wasn't a Pioneer, and the mixer wasn't bad. I did not mind the mixer. It's not the best mixer I've used, and the channel faders, they weren't the best I've used. They was all right. They was good. They weren't the best I've used. The mixer was a little bit of a letdown, I've got to say. It was just at first it was like a foreign mixer, so it just took like a minute or so to get used to it. I did not know where any of the effects was, so I just sort of improvised myself and did some cool stuff with the volume faders. The faders were very light. They were very sort of like easy and quick to move. So like any just sort of like gentle knock with the hand, and you can just knock the volume down a little bit on one of the volume faders. Um, or sometimes like if you're in a quick mix and you drop it down real quick and you drop it back up, when it gets back up to the top, it's almost like it bounces off the like full volume, and then it'll just like drop back down just ever so slightly, because they're so light and they're so like loose, but not loose as in like they're being unscrewed kind of loose, kind of like a loose, like they're just not well built quality wise. But nevertheless, it allowed me to do the set, and the set went really well. So I'm absolutely buzzed about that. And then I just sort of went on and off the mic really during the night. I got some food from a takeaway around the corner just because I hadn't had any tea. Lee had actually eaten at the graduation thing, so he wasn't feeling too hungry at that point. I had a bit of change, so I just grabbed the doner meat and chips just before I started miking and everything, because I felt a little bit sort of like peckish, and I thought I've got a set to do. I can't sort of not go and do a set. Do you know what I mean? I can't not I can't do a set and sort of be on an empty stomach. I felt peckish. So I went to this kebab place, and the doner meat was actually really nice. It was one of the best doner meats I've had. It was up there with doner meats I've had. Pizza Pie in Hull, they always do a banging doner meat, and Spiceland in Hull, they do a banging doner meat. And this one was kind of like on par with them. It was really nice, which was absolutely good. And then just as we was about to set off and leave, Lee did get a burger from a place called Chicago Burger, and he got doner meat, should I say, but just doner meat on its own, which cost the same price as what it cost me to have the doner meat and chips from the other place. So he paid the same price I did, but that was like to get the meat without the chips. So I thought that was a little bit of a rip off. And I didn't feel too hungry. It was card only. Not card only, sorry. They did take card. I didn't have enough change. And I wasn't really that hungry, so I was only going to get something like cheesy chips. But when I got to the counter, the card limit was a fiver to use the card. And I thought, do you know what? I'm not hungry enough to spend something that's gonna add up to a fiver. Like I only wanted something like like just a little tray of chips. Like I wasn't gonna munch like a big burger, or again I wasn't gonna have another tray of doner meat. I wasn't that hungry. I was just more gonna get just a snack, because I thought, well, Lee's eating. He can't eat on his own. Maybe it'll be good just to have a little bit of a snack. and I just thought chips and cheese, perfect. The price wasn't too bad. I didn't really begrudge paying that for cheesy chips, as for things and food. They have gone up anyway, so it wasn't too much out of its way. But sadly, you had to spend a fiver on the card, and I just wasn't willing to get something off of the menu that added up to a fiver. Because I just, like I say, I wasn't that hungry enough to sit there and have like a proper meal. It was only a snack that I wanted, so I left it. I left it and walked out in the end, and just thought, you know what, I'm not going to have anything then. You know, which was crazy. But it was a banging night. DJC played an amazing set. The Deckheads, they obviously smashed their set too, which was good. Really nice to see. And everyone just smashed the set really. And it was just again, it was one of them surprising nights where you go there, you don't expect what it's gonna be, and then and then it blows you away, and then you're like, wow, so this is what it is. And it just turns out to be like a really nice, a really nice, really nice set, and really nice night. Sorry, which was good. It was good. It was banging. It was everything you wanted it to be, really. And a couple of things happened during the night as well. So one of them was we met some amazing people. I met an amazing woman actually who had so much love for me and really bigged me up on the mic, and we just bonded like with a really good friendship, like just like that. And it was so nice to meet her, and we just had such a laugh, and we just had a really good time, to be honest, enjoying the night, enjoying the vibe. So DJC comes with a guy called Rob, and he's the owner of Rave Anywhere, which is like one of the biggest brands in the hardcore scene at the moment. It's since the lockdown, it's been dominating. They've been like streaming and through like Facebook and Twitch and YouTube, and they've been hitting like thousands of numbers. Like they go live, and like thousands of people have been locking in through lockdown and stuff. And then sort of like after lockdown, they put these like big parties on. And they book like some of the best in the game, including the likes of DJ Gamma. We've had people like Dougal, we've had like Hixie, Breeze, and they've all kind of like teared up like Rave Anywhere, and they put on these like amazing events. So the guy, or one of the people that does run Rave Anywhere, he was actually at the event. And he had a little chat to me, and he was like, he just bigged me up basically, and just said, look, I see you online, you're always having a laugh, and just keep doing what you're doing. And obviously, he's a guy who runs a pretty biggish brand, so the only sort of like the only sort of thing I can really take from that is that he's possibly got his eye on me. Whether he has outplanned or not, he's obviously liking what I'm doing and where I'm going, and he's obviously seeing stuff online. He's obviously watching, which is a cool thing. It's a good thing. I would love to do something with Rave Anywhere. Don't get me wrong, but I'm one of these people where if it happens, it'll happen. I'll keep doing what I do. I'll keep pushing myself, and then the day will come. Well, whether it be I enter a competition they run, or I get asked. I'm not one of these people that will go messaging or texting a page like, "Oh, I'd really love to play at your event. I'd really love to to play a set." I'm not one of these people. I'm I'm the type of guy, like I like to get asked. Like I want people to want me, not someone who, oh, we better give this guy a set, like he really wants one, he sounds desperate. I do what I do for the love of what I do. And if I don't get booked out to do it, like I don't get booked out to do it. Like I'm just genuinely like honoured and privileged that I do. That people ask me and say, look, do you want to play for our night, or I'm putting a little night on? Would you be interested playing? You know, would you MC this one? Would you host this one? Or like a lot of the time, Leo get me a booking in. So it'd be someone that'd be like, oh, we need a DJ, and it'll be like, oh no, so you know, my friend Ash Noble, he could do it. Like, oh yeah, he's not bad, and then you know they ask me, and then you know I'm doing the gig. You know, a bit like you know for example, like Glow with it and Wizards of the Core. You know, they were kind of like Lee sort of, you know, got me on that one. Um, you know, along with him, and then you know, same with the Glow with it. So, you know, that's the kind of the guy who I roll. So you never know. Maybe one day they might text, or like I say, I might win a competition, or you know, the time might come where I might do something. You know, with the Rave Anywhere guys. You know, who knows? You know, you never know. It's one of them. Um, but all in all, it was good to meet them. It was good to talk to them. I had a good talk to DJC as well, and he like shook me hand and everything. And then he actually stayed on after his set for the night. He got to witness me doing some stuff on the microphone, and he bigged me up and actually said, like bigged me up and went, I like you. And that's always a buzz because you know they are like you know they're bigger than me in the game obviously, and you know they do quite a few biggish things. And you know when you've got people like them that are you know just saying like I like you and you did good, like it's just nice to hear them nice words because they're people that have worked with some of the best, you know. So obviously you know they know. Obviously, I guess what the best is like. So having someone like Storm MCing for you, which you know that guy's like done some of the biggest nights in the hardcore scene in history. You know, HTID in the Sun, all the HTID events. And so obviously to listen to somebody who's sort of like you know I guess like an amateur compared to Storm, someone who's up and coming, and then for them to actually turn around and say, yeah, you know I like you, you did good. You know, it's always a good feeling because you know I look at them and I think they're like on a different league to us. They're on a different level. You know, they do some of the biggest nights that you know the scene has to offer. Whereas me, I'm just sort of in that sort of like you know I do some biggish nights, I do smaller nights. You know, I'm at that point where like you know like Wizards of the Core, it put like a few big headliners on. You know, there was obviously like DJC, Kayleen Scar. You know, which is nice. It's good to move on and like bounce to your drop was like your likes of Club Filler, John Neal, Charlie Bosch. You know, and they're sort of some of the bigger raves compared to some of the ones I do. Um, you know, whereas like Stomp for Cancer, you know, it's going to be a little bit on the smaller scale. You know, if that makes sense. So like you know, compared to them, I'm doing some biggish things, but also some small things. Whereas they're doing everything. Do you know what I mean? They're doing the massive raves. Then they get booked to headline these smaller events to help the smaller events get off the ground. So it's a buzz really when they just you know when they acknowledge that you know what you're doing on the mic. And again for a headliner as well to sort of stay back and sort of just listen to some of the other sets is actually a good thing. And I kind of wish that more headliners would do the same. Like I understand some other headliners like to go off and play another night in the same night, but it would be nice if, say for example, like Mark Breeze just stayed back at say one of his bookings and just maybe had a little bit of a listen to some of the like other DJs that aren't necessarily a headliner, and the same with the MCs because you know the way I see it, and I've always sort of said this sort of like from the off really, is these people that are headlining now like Club Filler, Ian Vandal, you know DJC, Mark Breeze, Darren Styles, that you know there is going to be a point in their life where sadly they are going to snuff it, they are going to pass away, or there's going to be a time where they are going to retire. They're going to say enough's enough, and they're going to hang the headphones up, and they're going to say, look, I've done this since 92, 93, 89. You know, I've done it long enough now. I want to retire. And when they retire, there's going to need to be people that are going to like sort of like come through and take their place, because otherwise the scene will die. But because these have done it for so long, and they're like known as kind of like the what I'd say the best at it. Like if they just sat back and listened, and sort of like had a little bit of a listen to some of the up and comers, as opposed to just doing a set and then going home. Like would be a really nice thing, because it would help like some of the new people come through. There'd be nothing like making an up and coming DJ's night by say like Mark Breeze coming up and saying, I sat there in the corner and listened to your set and it was banging. Your mixing was tight. Your mixing was on point. I'm gonna big you up to some promoters, and what's your DJ name, and keep smashing it, because you'll go far. And if I was in the shoes of, say, on the level of someone like Mark Breeze, that is something that I'd like to do, because I'd know myself that I'm not going to be going forever. And if there's a young guy who's up and coming on the scene, and he's actually doing quite well, and you can big him up to a few promoters, someone I don't know, say books me and says, look, we're putting this night on, blah blah blah. Just getting a few things and DJs in order, but would you headline it? And then I'd be like, yeah, I'll headline it. And then I'll be like, who else is playing? Like, oh, we're not sure yet, getting a few things in mind. And then I'd be like, well, actually, I played here a couple of weeks ago. There was an up and coming guy. I just stayed back and witnessed his set. And he actually played a really good set. I think he's got potential to go far. Obviously, it's not my event, but maybe he would be worth a message, about maybe booking him. And then obviously, that just helps out. So it was really nice that DJC stayed back to listen to a few sets. That was a good thing. But yeah, so it was an absolutely belting night, start to finish. Next up for me is a private party today, and I'm not too sure how it's going to go, because I'm kind of a little bit peed off about it, really, because I've been trying to get information off the woman for days about getting a little bit of a track list put together. So now I'm just going with my 70s, 80s, 90s, and some noughties, and I'm just gonna essentially just play, because I'm at the point now where like I don't really know. Like I got a general of what they wanted, but they was gonna send like an actual like list together of like some specific songs they wanted. So obviously that was the score. Um, you know, so I'm just gonna basically go and do what I need to do, to be honest. And that is about as far as it's gonna go. But yeah, it's just one of them. Um, it's just one of them. Yeah, that is it really. But after that, next up for me, I'm not actually too sure. I think I've got a little bit of a break. Stomp for Cancer is coming up. There is another event coming up that's not announced yet. There's some other things where dates and things haven't properly been announced. So I think I'm onto a little bit of a break. I think I've got like a good sort of like few weeks of nothing really happening. I know on the 13th of August I've got another private party, so I think that might be the next thing after today, which is the 16th of July. So I think I've got about a month of not really like playing out anywhere unless anything comes in, which something again might come in. Who knows? But I think at the moment I'm going into not hibernation, but I'm going into a little bit of a break. So, but within that break, hopefully, I will be announcing some things. There will be a flyer dropping very soon, which I'm quite looking forward to announcing as well. And then obviously, like I say, there is Stomp for Cancer coming up as well. So I'll have to sort of really go back and sort of think about it. To really think, actually, what have I got coming up? But anyway, make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to share, and we'll see you all next time. I'm just talking.